But Olivia talks all things basketball, business, and community. She obtained her education from Purdue University. Uh-oh, I hear it. Go Purdue. And she's from LaPorte, Indiana. She passionately serves a dynamic in-game host as the captivating voice behind the Indiana Pacers and the WNBA.
Back real quick. Thank you all for being here tonight. Listen, NBA All-Star was last week, but this is the place and space to be tonight in Indianapolis, Indiana. Now, I heard some of you when they said Purdue, like, ugh. And like, that's fine, you know, not everyone can go to the best school. But I am so excited to be with you here tonight. The proprietor of Club Shay Shay Podcast and the host of Nightcap with Ocho Cinco. Get on your feet, Indianapolis, and give a warm welcome to Shannon Sharpe! Testing, everybody hear us okay?
Unc in the building. What's up, Unc? Boy.
Welcome back to Indianapolis.
What's up, boy?
Yes, it seems like I was just here. I was, but it's all good. I don't get back much. Actually, my daughter's here finishing up school, medical school at IU, so.
All right.
I'll be back in May when she graduates.
It is polar in here because they're like Purdue and then IU, they're like, yeah, that's the best school. Amazing. So you were here last week for NBA All-Star.
I was.
Yeah, how was that? Because you not only competed in the celebrity game with your team, but you won. So tell the people about that.
That was the most important thing because I didn't want Steve there because he's the type of guy that you win, he's never going to let you forget it. And so every time he's going to bring it up, and I didn't want that to happen. So I was very thankful that I had Michael Parsons and Puka Nacua and Jewel Lloyd. I had Carson. I had a really good team. We played team-oriented basketball, and I felt that if we could ever get them leave, they would press because they had guys that actually wanted to win the MVP, and they weren't going to play team ball. So now, I'm a poor loser, but I'm a worse winner. So people that are going, they do. And there are people that are older than me that call me up. I said, no, we got to be bold. We can't be But you know what I think? It's a very good term. It's a term of endearment. And I don't know when it happened. I think it happened. I went on Undisputed. The Broncos had beaten the Cowboys, and I wanted to celebrate. And I was like, man, how am I going to celebrate? And at that time, all the cigar, it's so at 3:30 in the morning, there's really nothing open. I can get a cigar. So I grabbed some, I think I grabbed like some Black and Miles, and I had some Hennessy. I put my stocking cap on like I was going. And I'm like, I wonder what people will think of it. They go like, this is a deep food, like you're on live television with a stocking cap, with Black and Miles and Hennessy. And from that moment, I've been on ever since. But also, I'm that guy that shows up to the cookout, to the family reunion, that tells the stories, that keeps everybody laughing, that they're like, I don't know if he's drunk or not, but that's a very interesting story.
There you go.
But I embrace the term. It really means a lot to me that my community has bestowed that name on me and what it means to make sure I live up to that.
And also, as you were playing that description, so many people in the audience, they're like, oh, either I know Unc or I am Unc. That's amazing. So talk about that community, right? I mean, you have been in the podcast game since the pandemic, right? And podcasting, we were talking about
Return to television. I was out of TV for about 2 years, but I was doing my own thing. So when I got let go by CBS at the start of 2014, so in 2014, 2015 on my own, I found this studio in Atlanta that would allow me to come in, have about 2 hours of time, I was talking about like the 4 or 5 big games of the week, maybe the stories of the week. They would cut it, edit it, and I could put it up on my social media page because I wanted to stay close to the game. I wanted to still talk about the game. And so I did that for about 2 years. And then when I went to Undisputed, what fell into our lap, unbeknownst to us, was the Colin Kaepernick situation. And a lot of people shied away from it because they're afraid. But I felt Colin Kaepernick was on the right side of history.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
When I did my research, and I have a minor degree in history, so I was very familiar with race relations in America. I was very familiar with the race relations in the military. Military didn't become segregated until 1948, although they had blacks that fought in every war, fought on American soil and soil.
Come on,
for
man.
the history of time. But you fight for this country, but you gotta fight blacks only. And then when you got back home to America, you were treated less than, and you were fighting for rights in a foreign land that you didn't enjoy. When
Come
you
on
got
now. Come on,
But I think for the very first time, my community felt that they had someone that was on television that was gonna speak what they could.
Yeah.
I was the guy that was gonna shine the light on a community that didn't have a light shine.
Yeah.
And so the support and love that my community, and I'm sure white people supported me also, but my community and the way they stood down for me, even when I was leaving. I remember when it was all happening with Fox, and I was leaving in the middle of June, and I read so many text messages. I read not text messages also, but social media, Twitter and IG. They're like, we following up. Wherever Unc go, we're going. And they showed up in droves. The way they supported Nightcap, the way they supported Club Shake Shake, the way they supported me on First Take, it's been unbelievable because none of this is possible without them. And so I am very appreciative of the love that they've given me since I've been back on television since 2016. But to answer your point about the podcast space, when the pandemic happened, there was no live events. I was like, well, maybe if I can just give people something that they can watch, that can take their mind off. Obviously, everybody was in the same kind of bubble. It was more difficult in some states. We were in California where they totally shut it down. I mean, there was nothing going on. And I just started reaching out to people that I knew. I started the podcast. I was like, obviously my brother was gonna be my first episode. And then I just reached out to people I know. I reached out to Floyd Mayweather. I reached out to Ice Cube. I reached out to Snoop Dogg, Rick Ross, Master P, guys that I had a personal relationship with. I said, man, I don't know if you've ever done this before. I was just wondering if you could do me a solid. I'm starting a podcast, and I would like you to be a guest. They're like, oh, no problem, Sharp. Hey, no problem. You come on. And we started off and we started building. And I remember talking to my producer, CJ. I said, CJ, this thing is going to be so much better once we can do it face to face. And once we got face to face, it kind of took off. But my platform is unique because I don't look at myself I'm not a journalist, and I don't look at myself as interviewing my guests. I'm having a conversation with my guests. And although it's my platform, I don't think the viewing audience and the listening audience wants to hear my voice. They tuned in to hear my guest's voice. And so I allow my guests to speak their truth. Now you get to determine if they're right, if they're wrong, or it's indifferent. But that's not for me to decide. Now, if you want hard hitting and frontline, there are places, 60 Minutes have that, 48 Hours have that, things like that. But I think in today's thing, we want to hear stories, and I like to have people that are interesting, have a very unique story, and can tell that story. And so I've been very, very fortunate that I've had, for the most part, of the 100, I think we've had 110 episodes, probably 105 or 106 of them I personally reached out to. Because even though I have a booking agency, I'm still the best booking agency. When they see,
Come on now.
when they see that blue check in their DMs, and I say I would love for you to be a guest on Club Shake Shake, that means a little bit more than having a booking agent saying Shannon Sharpe would like to have you on this podcast. So that's kind of how it happened.
Yeah, and how
You can't say that anywhere. And I said this earlier today. What I felt, what I see is that people say things, they say their real feelings, and then disguising jokes. And so for me, I was like, man, they really jealous of me. They really hate me. They mad at me. And then I realized they're not mad at me. They're mad it's me.
Come on now.
I'm miserable.
Come on,
I got to get it. See, Cat Williams is at 60 million views in less than 2 months.
Less than 2 days.
Only one video in 20-year history of YouTube has ever done that many views. I got that.
Yeah.
So you telling me if Cat Williams says I want to come on your podcast, nah, Cat, I don't want to have it. Really? Because and then what really started to bother them. I don't know if it's like, okay, I get if the people that he was talking about, they're upset. People that do podcasting, that do this, that's in the space, they started adding up. Hold on, he did how many views? How much money could he possibly make? He did this many downloads. It had this many impressions. So that means sponsors and advertisers are gonna want to be because he has a. Oh, so that's what it was about. That's really. But you notice a lot of times, if you want to find out how people really feel about you, start to leave them behind. People will really tell you how they feel. As long as you're here, if we're in the same location, I'm your dog. But if I get a mile in front of you, yeah, he always did thought he was better than everybody. And so that's when I started to see people that I thought I don't have a whole lot of friends. I have people that I was friendly with. That I
Unc up there preaching, man.
To, I've told them to try to help them out better in their careers. And then all of a sudden, people start to say things, but this is what I tell people. Just because you was first to do something, that don't mean you're the best to do it. Come on. And a lot of times people believe because they're first, that means they're the best. Yep. No, it does not. And so, me, I just work extremely hard. I mean, my team will tell you, we grind. And I pay you a great salary, you get great benefits, but we're gonna work. Now, Shay Media only have room for one lazy person. I'm it. I'm not lazy. That song by Nipsey Hussle, All My Life I've Been Grinding, it amplifies. That's who I am. I work. I mean, we did nightcap last night. We got nightcap tonight. I got to fly back. I'm flying back to LA. Then I'm getting on a plane coming back to Jersey. Then I'm coming back to Atlanta. Then I'm going to Dallas. I'm going back to LA, and then a week later I'm going on to Colorado.
Yep.
But I'm also doing First Take. So people don't see, all they see is the success. And that's what I told this, I was, Ocho that we was talking about on Nightcap. I say you judge a man where he's standing, not knowing where he came from.
That's good.
Come on now.
See, you look at me and you see this, but you don't see the work that I'm putting in behind the scenes. All you see are the benefits. But do you see the work? No. Because you got to have a reason. Man, Shannon Sharpe lost his job. How does he even get voted the #1 sports personality? How does he get to have 2 top podcasts in the top 5 on YouTube? How? He had to do something. He sold his community out. What? How? What did I do? What did I do? Nobody can tell you what I did to sell my community out. And then, you know what it is. As soon as somebody's us in our community, this is what's most disappointing.
It is.
As soon as one of us starts, especially a male, you start questioning sexuality.
Talk to him, Mom.
We know in our community, and I understand that, it's okay, but it's still something about that in our community. And so they label that.
Yeah.
Well, you've never seen me with anybody. Nobody's never said you started that. Because why? And then people just like, okay, yeah, I can see it. I don't see it. I don't see it with no woman. Wow. I mean, so what I'm supposed to advertise? But see, that's what social media is allowing you to do because everybody shows everything. Let me show you my girl. Let me show you my car. Let me show you how much money I got. Let me show you how many diamond rings I got. I'm a very, very private person. That's the way my grandmother was. She raised us to be that way. Yeah, I allow you to see my dogs and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm a very, very private, guarded person.
Let me stay happy for hard work.
That's the habit. Man, I went to the gym already. I done got it. You ain't working hard. You're like, man, I don't know. I think this dryer shrunk my clothes. No, the refrigerator shrunk. Ain't got nothing to do with no dryer. Ain't got nothing to do with the size. Nah. But and that's how we work. And I remember they asked at what age did I start working. I had my first job, I was 5 years old. I worked in the tobacco field from 7 until 5:30, 6 o'clock. When I got 7, I was still working in the tobacco field, but then we got a job catching chickens at night.
There we go.
So I was working from the time I was about 7, 8 years old, maybe 9, I was working about 14, 16 hours a day.
Wow.
So hard work has never bothered me. And people are like, man, the NFL got to be hard. The NFL was the easiest job I've ever had because it was something that I loved doing.
Yeah.
My grandma said no. She said no. My mom didn't argue with her. She knew the best thing.
Yeah.
My grandmother had been in my grandmother's home since 1970, since I was 2. She got on a train by herself, came and got me at 3 months old. My dad came back to Georgia, took me back to Chicago. I was 7 months old. When I came back and stayed, I was 2 years old. That was 1970. I had been in my grandmother's house since then. I slept in the bed with my grandmother until I was 15. My grandparents didn't sleep in the same bed. My grandfather slept in one bed, my brother slept with him. My grandmother slept in another bed, I slept with her. My grandfather passed in 1977. I slept in my grandmother's bed until 1983. I'm extremely close to my grandmother. I'm a baby, that's what she referred to me as. And I just try to represent her. I remember all the things, all the sayings that she said, and how to treat people, and and so that's how I try to live my life. I try to treat people how I want to be treated. I try to give everybody respect. You don't hear Shannon gossiping. You don't hear Shannon talking about people, because that's not the way we. I just remember one of the times I got backhand. I said something that I heard someone say it, and she popped me right quick. And she said, "What did I tell you about speaking behind people?" What she meant was, what did I told you about repeating what someone had said? It taught me, okay, very early on, okay? If somebody says something, I don't mean you gotta repeat it. And so that's how, anybody that knows you're from the South, and that's how red parents raised you. And you're older, just like your parents raised you. And, my grandfather was very, very, very strict. He used to say, he had to say, boy, don't make me chew this food twice. What he meant by that, don't make it repeat himself. Though they told you something one time, that was it. It wasn't no, sit down. Boy, who you getting on to sit down? There was none of that. If you sit down, the next time they knock you down. So you learn early on. And so that's how, being on the farm, you have responsibilities. We had hogs, we had chickens. And I remember one time that my grandfather, he yelled at me, and I started to cry. And my grandmother said, "Barney, don't yell at him. He's just a little fella." And he looked at my grandmother deadpan and said, "Mary, we live on a farm, we have heavy machinery, and we have animals." He said, "I tell him something one time, I need him to understand the seriousness of it, because I probably won't get a second chance to tell him." Wow. So I understood early on, when people tell me things, when my elders would tell me something, I listen. Because they might not get an opportunity to tell me that.
Wow.
So for me, being up in that environment, being brought up how I was brought up, hard work. I remember my grandfather, I was young, he used to get my aunts and my sister up. He didn't believe in that lay in the bed. He would wake them up and say, "Get up and watch the sunrise." He didn't play that late in the bed. There was no time at school, and you got up and, Saturday, and you want to, he would find things for you to do.
like everybody's mama. It's like, wake up, or what? I don't know. I just don't like you sitting there.
He's like, "Hey, y'all need to sweep these floors." I'm like, "They sit there." They're gonna be dusty again. Break the yard. He would leave, he would give us a choice like, "Hey, I'm leaving. When I come back, this house and the yard need to be cleaned." Now, he might turn around and come right back. But the house is going to be clean, the yard is going to be clean. And that's what he's done. That sounds like a good idea to me too.
Watch this.
So we throw it, nobody hears it. And then I remember my cousin, Eugene, rest his soul, he passed away. He picked up a rock like this, but he throws, he hits it. They take off running. They running, I'm running too. I didn't run fast enough. The yellow jacket tear in the back of my head. Now we're down the road, I run straight home. I'm crying. My grandfather, boy, what's wrong with you? I'm like, Papa, they were throwing in the roses and they come down the stairs. He said, you should have run. I said, Papa, I did run. He said, you should have run fast. I said, they came out of the walls, the several bosses, but that's how he was.
It doesn't matter what you were trying to get. If it's views, if it's sales, if it's people coming to something, relationships over anything.
Because she said that's the boys' money. Let them live. We good. Now my sister's having to dip the water out of the washer because it's broken. That's the boys' money, Libby. Let them live. I said, Libby. Granny said she don't want us to live it. Call one of the boys, call my uncle. I said, call one of my uncles. Have them take a fishing. Have the washer and dryer delivered. Have the refrigerator delivered. Have the stove delivered. I mean, that was, and when my grandmother passed, you talking about, because I could see it. So, we did this special, I don't know if you guys saw it, it's called The Road to Canton, and it's chronicling my journey to the NFL, to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but they go back to my hometown. My grandmother's in the hospital, in the nursing home. The very nursing home that she had worked, one of her patients that she used to have is now a roommate.
Wow.
So, we travel around, we go to the old house. I take the reporter, Mike Kliss, I take him to the school that I went to. We met my high school coach, we're just talking, we meet some people, I was like, oh, Shannon, he was funny, he was just a great guy, the same guy that you see now. We go back to the nursing home, and I'm getting ready to walk in the room, and my grandmother's crying. Now, she was very, even when my grandfather died, she didn't cry in front of us. I had an aunt pass. I had 3 uncles that passed. My grandmother never cried in front of us. So for me to see her crying, I knew something. I knew something was going on. So the reporter's behind me, and I stop it. I go in the room and I sit on the bed and I hold in my arms just like this. I said, Granny, what's wrong? She's just crying. She's just crying. And I don't know what made me say what I said.
Take your time, huh?
I grabbed my grandmother in my arms just like this. And she's crying. I said, Granny. I said, Granny. She stops. I said, Granny. It's okay. I said, I got him. I said, I got Libby, I got Spanky, I got Mom. Don't you worry about them. I got them. That's why she relaxed.
Because that's what she was worried about.
She was not going to go unless I told her. I had Libby, I had my mom, I had my brother. Yeah. She needed to know.
That's right.
I said, Granny, that little boy that you went to Chicago by yourself and brought him back when he was 3 months old. And he went back when he was 7 and he came back with 2. I'm the man
All right.
that you see sitting on your bed today.
All right.
Because of you. We left. 2 days later, my sister called. Shannon, she gone. I said, for real, living? So, me and my girlfriend at the time, I put my head to say something. I had a phone call. I want to talk. All I'm thinking about is what am I going to say when I see my grandmother laying on that slab? She's gone. I know she's gone. My sister had just plaited her hair a couple of days early. I reassured her. I got her. So that Saturday, as I'm getting ready to go view the body one last time, what am I going to say? As I'm looking at her, I pause for just a second. And I ask her, I said, Granny, am I the man you thought I would be? When you got on the train and came and got me at 3 months old and brought me back, am I the man you thought I would be? And I said, Granny, are you proud? I said, because everything I've done in my life, I've tried to please you. I could see my grandmother almost smile. You're the man that I thought and I prayed you would be. I also say, Granny, I don't know if I said this enough when I was growing up, but I love you. I love what you did, not only for your kids, but what you did for my brother, my sister, and myself. And I hope you know that I've done everything in my life to please you and to make you happy. And Granny, none of this is possible without you. There's no doubt in my mind, had I been born to someone else, had I been somewhere else, this happened all because of you, and you should take a bow.
A lot of reporters and journalists who want to do something like that. So can you tell us about that?
What I started doing is that I was building Club Shay Shay on someone else's dime. So I was drawing the salary from Fox, but I was building my own brand because I understood that they viewed me as talent. And as talent, you're only going to make so much money. Now in this space, I can make as much money as the content that I create.
So proprietor.
So for me, ownership is where you want to be. See, you can't fire me from Club Shay Shay because I own it. You can't fire me from Nightcap because I own it. Now, if you want to do business with me, you got to see eye to eye with me. You got to look at me as you as your partner. Because I don't need you. I don't need a network. Because I built something without them. So that's what I would say is that while you're working, you're drawing a salary, is the time that you start building your own. That's good. And you got to be dedicated now. And I remember, like I had Tabitha Brown on, not to change the subject. I remember having Tabitha Brown on. Now Tabitha doesn't know that in 2 months I'm going to leave Fox. So she's sitting down, we do the interview, and she leans over to me and she says, are we still mic'd up? I said, yeah, but I said, well, we can take the mics off. Took our mics off, and she leans in again. She said, I had a drink last night. She said, God told me to tell you it's gonna be okay now.
Man, auntie plugged
She said,
in.
now, you go do what you need to do. But you told me to tell you, it's gonna be okay.
Amen.
She said, you're gonna do really big things. You just gotta trust in it. And I'm thinking to myself, I know what's going on. Only a handful of people know what's going on. And she's not one of the people that know what's going on. So for her to tell me that, it gave me the assurance that I was doing the right thing. And to trust him Because I always say, no matter what I go through in my life, when I go through a hard time, I always say, God, I know you didn't bring me this far to just bring me this far. If you're going to leave me now after bringing me this far, but you have to believe, like I said, when you're on salary, start working on your next venture. Work on your next venture. If you want to do podcasting, it's a very saturated market. I'll be the first to tell you that, but you got to have a niche. And when you get that niche now, you're only going to get one chance to get their eye and their ear. It's just like you go to a restaurant and it's bad. You're not going back going, man, no, you're not going back. So when you get that audience, when you get an opportunity, and you get that eye and you get that ear, hold it and build it.
Amen.
I think we're off for a second. He always says that when your brand is in demand, you can make demands.
Yes, absolutely.
You can make demands.
Yes.
You're the one in charge. So absolutely. Also, you gotta tell a room full of people. I mean, people driving home like, man, I gotta get a business now.
I mean, look, I never wanted a business until I got tired of people didn't want me to work in their business. It's amazing what you do when you're forced to do it.
That's facts.
Sometimes an empty stomach, a broken heart, I make you do things you didn't think you could do.
That's right. That's right. Fastest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I never wanted to own a business. I kind of was content, just, understood the marketplace, but I was making a good living. But it wasn't until I was like, man, no matter how good you think you're doing something, when you work for someone else, they have the ability to relieve you of that occupation.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, you know what? Let me do this. I think I can do this on my own. Surround yourself with good people. People that have the same, they gotta be willing to work just as hard as you. Because if they don't, you can't want something for someone more than they want for themselves.
That's right. That's
Now,
right.
I can't ask the people that work for Shannon to work harder than Shannon's working.
Yeah.
They accept that. And so it's one of the best decisions. Friday night, I got nightcap on Monday. I got first take Monday, Tuesday. I got 2 episodes of Club Shay Shay. I get on the plane and go to Jersey. I take nightcap. I get back on the plane. I got another interview. I go to Dallas. I take 2 episodes of nightcap. I go back to LA. I got 3 episodes of Club Shay Shay.
Talk about booked and busy, but truly, just as Madam C.J. Walker said so long ago, that she got her start by giving herself a start. That's exactly what you did with Club Shay Shay. That's exactly what led to Nightcap and all of these amazing opportunities. So, Indianapolis, as we wrap up, please get on your feet and thank Mr. Shannon Sharpe.
Yes, sir.
About to happen in 15 minutes.
Indianapolis.